Okay, so we're back once again, still within our SketchUp model and still exporting out layers. Um, and now we are on the line work. This one's going to be much easier than the masks, so let's get into it. So if we go to our styles, um, the first one we want to do is what I call just baselines. And again, I will save out all of these styles so that they're ready to go. You don't have to make them. And again, I'm going to, in my layer panel, I'm going to turn off all of my floor because I just want my lines. It's going to be as if, the idea when we composite this is as if we drew this by hand and then we're going to paint vegetation over top of it. So I don't really care about having lines for the vegetation itself. I'm okay letting that just fade into being more of a painting and whatnot. Now some of these exports that we're going to create, we may or may not use. We just want to have options. So let's do, again, the same process as always, file, export 2D graphic. This time we're going to call it SketchUp lines, and these are going to be my baselines. And with that, we can actually also do baselines with profiles. It's just a slightly different export or style, excuse me, that has all the baselines, but it's having a little bit of thicker edges, which is giving some line weights to it. So we may or may not use that. So we can go to export, the 2D graphic, and we're going to call this one lines, baselines with profiles. And again, like I said, we're just going to export out a lot of options for us to be able to use later on. The next one I want to go with is we can get into something a little sketchier. This one's called charcoal loose. It's as if it's like charcoal drawing. So let's go ahead and export this one. So we'll call this one lines charcoal. And with that one exported, we'll move on to our next one. In the same kind of series, we will do, I believe it's this one. No. I mean, as you can see, there's all kinds of different ones that you can use. I mean, depending on what kind of look you're looking for. I'm going to go with this this pencil look is the one I'm looking for. I think this is going to give me a nice technique. So we'll file, export, 2D graphic, and call this lines pencil, and we're going to export that. And really you can see that even within SketchUp itself, these are built-in styles. They have sketchy edges from all kinds of different brush strokes and pen strokes and marker strokes and whatever it is that you want to play with or adjust. I mean, there's all kinds of options that you can do to create this very hand-sketched look. Some other quick ones, so that's going to be more of our fun artistic look. To give a more of a hand-drawn look, there's going to be some additional ones I want to export out. This one's going to be called Hidden Lines, and what this does is, as you can see, it's all the lines in the background. I mean, this is everything you can see, but we can really composite this on top of our drawing and do a very light transparency to make it look like we did a lot of sketching and erased to give a very hand-drawn effect. So let's go ahead and export this one out. So lines, and we're going to call this one hidden. And also similarly, we want to do one more export, which is going to be extensions. If I can find it here, where did it go? It's going to be this one here called construction lines, and you can see what this does is it adds extensions onto our drawings, these crazy over exaggerated extensions, and we're going to be able to use that again as a very light layer underneath everything to give it that almost drafted hand look, to where we can composite the wavy lines on top of this, with this one being a much lighter line. And it's just going to be really building up layers to create what I think is going to be a very cool effect. So I'm going to call this one lines extensions. And now that we have that one exported out, that's all the line work that we need, and we will move on to the next section.